Okay, welcome back. And so I'm sure some of you have pulled into your drive and are hopefully sitting in the car waiting to finish the end of this. So this is great. And I appreciate everybody reaching out and talking to me. And it's getting some good feedback. And I'm really excited about being able to do this on a weekly basis because I can tell you what, as we start to become consistent in this stuff, as we start to mature in the process of, as we start to practice the techniques and the tools and the applications, we become more proficient at it. And as we become more proficient at anything, we become more successful at it. And that's, I think, a big goal for most of it. It is for me. I mean, I just want to, if I'm going to do something, I struggled as a youth and as a child and as a young adult in struggling with the difference between perfectionism and procrastination. Because it got taught to me and ingrained very early is that if I wasn't going to win at it, if I wasn't successful at it, well, then what tended to happen is that I either quit, gave up, or didn't attempt. And that apathy that was in my life manifests itself in depression. And I can tell you, once you start to struggle with depression, it is a very difficult. Somebody described it to me once as wearing a lead overcoat. And that's because it's just heavy and it's hard. And you can't describe it, and there's no point you get to take it off, and I know what that feels like. And so I want to encourage somebody and let you know that there is hope in that, because as I started to practice these things, as I started to develop a hope in that higher power and in a God of my understanding, that I had to start to learn and seek and search and kind of go, who exactly is this and what does that mean? And who, because we use his name, we use the name God, and I don't want to get too far off the beam with this stuff, but we use this in such a way that it's become so callous or mainstream. But I can tell you, when it started to really reach and resonate with me, that if there was really a God, and I'm going to tell you, there were some times that I just didn't know, and that's okay. But as I started to really search for what that meant and discover the magnitude when it talks about creation, when it talks about universe, and the mass expanse from the minute cellular level to the infinite spiritual realm. I mean, there's an awe-inspiring gasp that happened for me to be able to say, well, what exactly does that mean to me, and how do I start to discover, one, what my purpose was, and two, how do I start to manifest some of that in my life? Because frankly, and I learned this a long time ago, that if there is a God, and I can only hope that as he's pursued me and tapped me on that shoulder, consistently tried to get my attention, then how did that not ever become the number one priority in my life? And so I want to make sure that as we talk about dealing with stress and anxiety and pressure and tension because of money and work and friends and family and relationships and possessions, and either increasing those or in either minimizing obligations, responsibilities, whether we're starting to contemplate our mortality, or simple retirement, or the fact that we're not going to be able to, or whether we're in the throes of a career that is just failing us based upon an education that I was cast into, or whether I'm still struggling with the contemplation of my identity and who I am as a person, and how I'm going to identify that, because I know that's big today. And there is a whole chunk of society that's still struggling with that. And I want to encourage everybody that there is a path, and there's a purpose, and there's a definition for that. And it's not what somebody else says you are, it's who you say you are in relationship to who you were created to be. And so I want to make sure that I share that practical experience. And I can tell you, for me, that didn't happen overnight. There's stuff in the Bible, there's stuff in recovery, and there's stuff in religion, and there's stuff in the Middle Eastern meditations that talk about that transformation and that transcending. And I can tell you from my experience and others that we have going through this stuff, it's not an instantaneous transformation. And I want to encourage somebody who's dealing with or struggling with, hey, I've been trying this for a couple of weeks and it's not helping and it's not working and I'm not feeling any better. Stick with it. Hang in there. Reach out for some help and support. It's there. Listen, if you want to call the station, it's 888-404-1010. Again, that's 888-404-1010. You can reach me on Higher Powered FM on Twitter, on Instagram. The webpage is higherpoweredradio.com. There's a blog on there. You can email that kind of stuff. Be more than happy to have that conversation with you, because I can tell you, as I mentioned last week, being alone is no place to be by yourself, because the destitution that comes from that, and not having the tools to actually walk through that. Because I can tell you, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of good things about solitude. I love my quiet time. Listen, I don't like to have to put out all the time. There's times that I need to unplug and recharge and be by myself. And so I'd love to talk about some of that other stuff at another time. I want to make sure that if you're feeling that you don't have choices, that you don't have options, that you don't have anybody else that is there for you, that you know that I am, and that you know that we are. And I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to meet with you, and I'm not going to. This isn't anything along those lines. But I can share that with you. I can help in directing some resources that are out there for you, whether that's at the corner, or whether that's online, or whether that's simply picking up the phone call or texting. That don't feel that you don't have that ability to do that, because it's like inertia. And the hardest thing about doing anything is starting. So whether you're going to start your meditation today through yoga, whether you're going to pick up the book that has been sitting on your shelf that you've said you're going to read for the last 3.5 years, or whether you're going to actually start the blog that you said you were going to do, whether you're going to actually start to search online for the best school for you, or whether you're going to rewrite your resume and start to do the search so that you can follow your passion, I think that opportunity is there for you. And I want to encourage you that if you're uneducated about how to do it, or you're struggling with starting, because the hardest thing about anything is starting, whether you're going to put the pen to paper, you're going to put the first keystroke down, or whether you're going to pick that up for the first time, you're not alone, and you're not the first person that's actually struggled with it. Man, there are centuries of people that have gone through the same exact same thing. And so be advised that stuff is there for you to reach out and have help with, and I'm here for you. And so be more than happy to be there on social media. Again, it's Matt Dukes. This is Higher Powered Radio. You can reach me at Higher Powered FM or Matt Dukes at higherpoweredradio.com. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll talk to you next week.
Radio is hosted by Matt Dukes with executive producer